Look, I like you.
You want to trust me? I want to trust you.
We're great together. There shouldn't be any secrets between a couple.
Anything for you?
No risks. It's got to be perfect. Promise me that.
Trust me.
What's it like being a kept man?
I really like this character.
Knowing that that person isn't who you really are is intoxicating.
We need to ask you a few questions.
You know that old saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer still?
So what am I to you? Am I game to you?
The most important thing to me. If there's anything, even the smallest sign that it could go wrong, walk away.
I promise.
Well, first and foremost, I've watched your film, and it was absolutely gripping. There's the subject matter, obviously, of love within this film. What inspired you to write a film based on love, but obviously from such a different perspective, perhaps?
Good question. I guess a number of things. I really wanted to write a sort of female-driven film, and I was sort of very aware that a lot of female roles can be very thin. Mm-hmm. So I realised very quickly on that, you know, if I was going to have a female lead character, she's got to be sort of really well-rounded. And as I sort of explored the material, I realised that she had to be both the heroine and the villain. Mm-hmm. And I thought that'd be a really interesting conundrum to play, sort of almost a Hitchcockian way, that actually you start to love these people and then you start to realise what they're up to. Mm-hmm. And I think that was partly one of the things. The other bit was I've had quite a few different careers over the time, and I've always been intrigued to know why and how people survive in careers these days, especially in a very capitalistic world.
Interesting.
And it's become much more sort of aware about the dark character traits needed to get to the top. You know, a corporate sociopath does very well in the investment banking world, in the legal world. A strong narcissistic streak is required in the arts these days, and almost the other one is the Machiavellianist in the political world. So I kind of got really intrigued on why these people survived, and I sort of started to understand a lot more about these sort of dark role models. And I suddenly went, actually, if I can fuse that into a female character, you hear less about female sociopaths, but they are around. And I suddenly thought it'd be a really interesting role to play, because a lot of these sociopaths are actually lovely to be with when they want something from out of you. Yes. But they also are driven by a hidden agenda and that lack of empathy. So, it was really, when I sort of put those together, I suddenly went, oh, female characters in this. I think it was rich ground to play with. And how do you get audiences to like a character? And I think love has to be at the centre of it, because it's amazing what we give up and what we do to someone and how honest they are. Certainly this couple have real attributes you can admire because through their love and their understanding of each other and being very honest. But at the same time, they're driven by very dark motivations, which come from their sort of darker individual character traits.
Yeah. Characters are obviously very complex, and throughout the film where kind of you explore that, slowly throughout the film, and the audience gets to know them more. what do you think makes them such, an explosive pairing? Because they are very different, archetypal characters, like you were saying. But what is it that when they're brought together, all these, dire consequences and all this passion erupts?
I think they exhibit certain traits which we find very admirable without realising it. They're actually remarkably honest to each other. For example, when Max first is asked what does he do when he's alone, he at first tries to sort of bluff the question, but then comes up with a very honest answer. I do what you do. I look around. I have a snoop. And then she sort of questions about it. And it's the way he is very honest and takes the telling off. And at the end, she says, oh, well, we're now a couple. I agree with that. And so when she does exactly the same, but her version is through the webcams, she's very honest to him. And you think there's no way coming back. And then she says how badly she's been burnt in film and relationship. You kind of understand her insecurity, trying to be safe. We all want to be safe. We want to understand the person we do. And then they accept each other. And acceptance is a really powerful character trait. If you can accept someone who's sort of harmed you or wronged you, but you understand it, and you can get over it, it can make a couple incredibly strong. Be it sort of as friends or as in a relationship like this. And subconsciously, I think audiences kind of understand that, because you sit there and go, without really understanding, would you do the same? Have you done the same with other people? And we do bear grudges. We can be quite petty over things and fall out with it. So when we see people not doing that, I think it makes them richer and more believable. So
obviously, a big part to do with that were the actors, Jack Gordon and Rebecca Calder. They obviously have a very intense chemistry, on screen. How was the creative process of working with them and creating these two characters?
Oh, it's brilliant. I think where it really started was, and I must have give praise and credit where it's due, is we had Manny Puro cast the film. And he was brilliant and very patient, because it's a two-hander. So finding the right two people was pivotal. And we had some quite high-profile actors interested in it, but they didn't quite have the chemistry or the buzz or the drive, and then interested in it. So it was a slow, painstaking process of trying to figure out who had the desire to play the role, because it was low budget. So it's not as if you've got a ton of time to really work this. You have to make sure you cast well to make the most of a very short shooting schedule. So it's got to be somebody who really is devoted to this and really wants to do it. And we started off trying to look for both characters. That didn't work. We then focused on the female character. Finally came up with the Rebecca, who was wonderful and very still and very cerebral. So the next one is trying to find a male character to play opposite her. And so we saw some wonderful actors, and we did narrow it down to three who were fantastic each in their own right. But there just seemed to be a real chemistry and buzz and friction between Jack and Rebecca. He's very much more a physical actor. She's much more cerebral. And actually when we put them in a room together and acted out a few scenes and did a bit of improv, there was a real danger there. He's kind of slightly unpredictable, and I think that made Rebecca kind of uncomfortable, and she upped her game and was very focused after that. And the two just got on really well, and we could spot it. And when I did go through with Rebecca, I said, look, please don't choose who you would like, who you could possibly play against, but just sum up how you felt with each of the actors. And when it came to Jack, she said, dangerous. I felt very unsettled, and I was like, that's perfect. And so trying to keep that going, and they both so wanted to do film. It was a real pleasure, and I think that was the pivotal moment. So once I could see there was that inherent danger, it was a lot easier, and it really kind of worked. But it's still quite nerve-wracking going in, because Rebecca was unfortunately ill just before the shoot, and so our rehearsals were somewhat limited. But then working with them, they were both very generous, and it was great. It was a very collaborative process. And so we could try things out, and I was quite happy to, I didn't have a set gender, I was looking to be surprised. So we would do a scene a number of ways, and they both embraced that sort of ability to push the roles, and it was, being given those choices at the end, it really made the film. They were so committed, and it was great. Very collaborative.
Yeah. Great. And in terms of the cinematography, you did talk about your intrigue, with the sort of darker sides of human nature. And within the film, there were some quite unusual camera angles within it that were really interesting to see.
Yeah, we were very... I worked very closely with Robin, and we had a very simple plan, which... and looking at this, film grammar as a whole. At the start, the couple, the two are not a couple, so we made sure that they're predominantly framed in single shots. Yeah. In a slightly longer lens. And then as the relationship grew, we did more and more wider lenses. And having a lot more two shots and scene shot out in a single shot, because they're in it together. And so when they're starting to fall out, or you think they're not there, their relationship might be falling apart, we then sort of go back to the single shots. We also use the side of the frame very simply. The stronger character would be on the left, the weaker on the right. So having really simple rules meant that we could be... It meant that the narrative actually ended up being much more complex, because we knew what we were looking at, who was going to be where in the frame, the size of frame. And a lot of thought was put into how to keep the space intriguing and entertaining for the duration of a 90-minute film, because you can sort of... we had other cinematographers and other people we auditioned saying, look, there are only so many places you can put a camera. I'm going to get bored of this. And Robin wasn't like that. He was very intrigued about the possibility of how to keep us motivated. Now, hopefully the story would do that, the performance would do it, but also the camera is very, very part of that. And that's why we came up with a simple plan of where to put the characters and when they would be, when we use a 50mm or a 24mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think, and they all sort of, the unusual shots were tied in with the emotion of it, and I think Robin really got the emotion of the film, the idea of the claustrophobia. And I had one person turn around. Do you remember the scene when they come down the stairs?
Yes, yeah.
I had one viewer and critic have a look and go, oh my God, I completely forgot we were in one space until that moment. And then I went, oh my God, is that the real space? And I'm like, yeah, that was. So there was even, by 3/4 of the way through, people not fully 100% aware of the geography of the house. And again, that was designed to keep us interested. If you know where everything is, it could get boring. We always wanted to be, even in the cinematography and the space, still revealing stuff at the end of 90 minutes, which was kind of bold for a film in such a small location.
Gender roles are explored a lot in the film, or the reverse of traditional gender roles. Was this intentional in your writing?
Yeah, very much so. I think as I sort of, I see in a modern day society, you do actually see these gender reversals. I know a few people who've got, whose partners, the female, is got a professional career. I know quite a few guys these days who are looking to have children, and their partner doesn't want it because they're so invested in the career. And I'm kind of seeing this quite a lot more. It's certainly more apparent now than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. So it seems right to be looking at that role reversal. And I have to say, from my side, female-driven upbringing, and from a very tough mother who had to really embrace both the male role and the female role in parenting. And I think that was, subliminally part of why I wanted to have such a sort of flip of the roles and break with those conventions.
The root of the couple's problems and ultimate flaws and the cause of what makes them do these kind of horrific things really are kind of rooted in their insecurities of their past lovers or their past life. Is that correct, first of all, and was that something you were keen to explore throughout the film?
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Part of it, I think, as I write characters, I'm sort of very aware of their sort of upbringings and what their motivations. Like, I made sure that, if I looked at her, she was an only child. She wonders sometimes if she was a mistake, if her mother really wanted to have a child. The parents don't live in the UK. You alluded to a care home. So, looking at her background is very pivotal. So psychologically, you would understand why or how her sort of almost sociopathic tendencies
Yes.
could be materialised. The same with him. He was, I think, the second youngest of a very large family. I'm not sure if it all fully got into the film because, you know, some of it was pace killers, but, you know, it was certainly very much aware that his position in the family, he was second youngest of a local family. The rest of the family never really moved away. He was more the wild, rebellious one who could get away with it. And I think it's really important to have that sort of psychological backdrop. You can't just say, you know, a character's going to do X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
You know, really to understand why people may be able to do it, you know, their propensities, you know, what they take from their parents, how they've been brought up, I think is very pivotal, and I think they are sort of systematic of current times, and especially in this day and age with social media, our drive for self-fulfillment, almost narcissism. You know, I think they both have very sort of self-centered goals and aims. Strangely enough, they're able to coexist because of that, and actually they do share it. So it's almost like two damaged people in a very damaged world come together.
We've touched on the style of the film and your choices as a director, but overall, how would you describe your style as a director, or does it vary from project to project?
I think it varies from project to project, if I'm totally honest. The one thing I am interested in is less the sort of the whistles and bells. I think I'm very much a character-driven director, be it in a genre or be it in a drama. But, you know, I think the characters are what I'm most drawn to. And a performance, an electric performance on screen to me is just a dream to watch. And normally where films fall apart for me is where I'm sitting there going psychologically, the plot's made a character do something, but the team behind it haven't always thought about the reality of the character.
Yes.
So the plot may need that. You need to ground. A story has to be plot and character, a fusion of the two.
Yeah.
So for me, I think complexity of character is at the heart of all films, and that's what I'm interested in. But you know, be that in a drama or be that in a genre, you know, I think you know something which. You know, I think it's taken me a long time to realise, but for me a film is looking at human nature in a way that entertains an audience. It has to entertain an audience. You've got to find it intriguing, entertaining. If that's a horror, you're scared. If that's a comedy, you've got to laugh. If that's a drama, you've got to, you know, cry and laugh. And, you know, thriller, you've got to be sort of shocked. But at the root of it is the human character and human nature, and you've got to shed light on that. Even if it's got, you know, giant monsters crashing down buildings or spaceships and things like that, which I still love.
That's kind of a perfect tagline for this film, is exploring the human nature in a very intriguing and, as you say, perhaps entertaining way for the audience, because I was glued to the screen.
I guess my influences, I've been really lucky because I studied at the American Film Institute in LA, so I always feel that I've really been drawn to both European and sort of hybrid of European and American films. I do think America's just amazing at sort of genre, and Europe's incredible on character in my way, and I think that's the thing which always sort of draw me together. So, you know, fusions of like Herzog, Haneke, some of my favourite directors, along with Terrence Malick and David Fincher. You know, because you know Malick less so on genre, but you know he did Badlands, and that sort of really stimulated me to go to the AFI, I guess. In a sort of small way. LoveMeDo is a little bit of an homage to Badlands.
I know that you were a part of the BFI Guiding Light scheme, and you were mentored by Sam Mendes. Can you talk to us a bit about that experience and sort of your highlights of that, perhaps?
Yeah, it was an amazing opportunity. I think I'd just come back from LA and I managed to get onto the scheme, and I was really lucky to get Sam Mendes. He's certainly a director I hugely admire. The performances he gets from actors are amazing, and I think that was what I was drawn to it.
Yes.
And to have that opportunity to discuss film, working with actors, to spend time on the Bond set. And the thing I found in the industry, you tend to work so much in isolation. You're hoping that the choices you make and how you go about working with actors, working on the film, are the right ones, but
Yeah.
you never really get an insight into how other people can do it. So the mentorship scheme with Sam, and just seeing how a set, as complex as the Bond set can operate,
Yeah.
You can't help but draw, the great points from it. And I guess the key lesson I learned was the atmosphere on the Bond set was so family, such fun,
Oh, wow.
hard-working, but it felt like a brilliant team. Everybody seemed to, in my short time there, get on. And that was the one thing I really wanted to do in LoveMeDo.
Yeah.
No one makes you go off to be a filmmaker, so it's a tough old day you're spending at work, albeit you love it. The aim of it was just to make sure that the set was fun, it's enjoyable to be with, and I think our 3 weeks on set was brilliant. We didn't have any fallouts. We went to the pub once a week. Everybody came. I even had one of the gaffers spot saying at the usual 2/3 moment where everybody's exhausted, frictions can arise. We haven't had any. Why is nobody falling out? And we're in a tiny place.
Yeah.
So credit to the whole team. Everybody really pulled together. Everybody wanted to do it, and we really made sure that we'd have just a fun, pleasant set that everybody could enjoy being there.
So finally, the film for the characters ends positively, albeit obviously it is a twisted fate or end, let's say. But for them as individuals, they can kind of let go of those insecurities that we were talking about. And that ending shot, her popping her keys through the letterbox, because that house meant a great deal to her in the past. What do you think the future holds for those characters, and what would you like to have happened to them?
I have my own views and ideas, and I think when I wrote this and when I discussed it with Rebecca and Jack, in particular with Rebecca, because she's the one who's leaving that, and the house really is the third character, corny though it may sound, but that clearly has a lot of emotional impact for that character. And I remember her asking, what's this about? Is it premeditated? What's going to happen in the future? And I'm like, well, what do you think? And I think the whole point of the film is it's never meant to be sort of judgmental, and it's never meant to give a definite answer. And I hope the audience can sit there, and this is probably the real heart of the film. I hope it's one of those films where the audience are interactive when they watch it. They wonder what's going on. I think at the very start people think, oh, is he being taken in? Oh, I know what's going to happen. She's going to have a baby through him and kick him out. Maybe it'll go dark there. Oh, it's going to be taking out the boss, and actually ends up being what it is at the end. So it should keep people guessing as they go along, as they try and work it out. And at the very end, I hope it's one of those films. The aim was always to have it that there wasn't you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yes.
But there's a reason for the film to end at that point.
Yes.
But the next phase is a couple may go and watch this film, and I hope they can sit down and debate and discuss what is going to be the future for Max and Antonia. Will they still be together? Will they get away with the crime? What's going to happen? And I think that's the point of it. I have my own views as the writer, the originator, but I hope audiences have different views. Maybe there are things I've missed, maybe they've picked up on other things, maybe they've debated on it, and it depends on what they bring to their own lives and how they think of relationships. So I hope it's an open ending, but a fulfilling ending, but one where audiences can sit there and discuss the intricacies of a relationship, especially maybe committing a crime like that. But it's also they clearly committed to each other, and that's what couples do these days, and you have to start to figure out how you can stay together.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking this call and this interview. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I've really enjoyed it, and it's been really, really interesting to get your insight as a director after I had the opportunity to watch this film. So thank you for your time, Martin.
My pleasure, and thank you for wanting to have a chat. It made my day.